Hey guys, Paffin here, or John. Doing a little different video. It's kind of a cool behind the scenes, like history / branding talk about JT Music, formerly JT Machinima. It's kind of go through the beginning to the end, all our logos, why we did things. Kind of a cool way to give you guys a behind the scene look that you wouldn't otherwise hear. It'll be kind of a fun ride, just for myself as well, and for those of you who are pretty dedicated to us and our brand and what we do. So, obviously, you know, our first video ever was the greatest ever, and this right here is what our branding was. We didn't know what we were doing. You know, we just two friends who did this for fun. So it was Christian and John presents this Halo rap for you guys. And then this is our Call of Duty World at War rap, which if you haven't seen, it's a classic. It's actually aged decently well. But we had like credits, and we decided on the name JT Machinima. So this was the first time the name JT Machinima was seen and presented by JT Machinima. Again, for those of you who don't know, J is for my name, John. T is for Skull's name, Timothy, but he goes by Christian. It just makes the explanation always a lot more complicated than it needs to be, but that's the explanation. And then Machinima, because we made Machinima back then. So, our first logo we had, and one we rolled with, is one you'll recognize, is this skull. Just the classic skull. And it has it's a little rough around the edges, literally. And the funny thing is, I made this by taking an inspiration. So I actually, back in the day, I googled cartoon skull. So this was the inspiration for that logo. Where did it go? Oh, it's here. And I pretty much just made a giant oval blob right here and another oval blob here, and I just chipped away at it with an eraser tool. And that's how we came to that. I mean, it's slightly different, as you can see, but it still has the same kind of spirit to it. And also, because this was inspired by a stock photo, is part of why we moved away from it later on. But we'll get to that later. So we do have this pre-roll that we used with that logo, and I honestly was just messing around with After Effects, and that's how we came up with this. And it's super basic. I think this is some kind of stock filter, not stock, but it's like within After Effects. It's something you can generate pretty easily. And I changed the colors, and I put the JT Machinima, and I made it matted so you could see through it. That's why you can kind of see the color shifting behind it, like from red. The red's kind of getting bigger to the left or to the right. But that was that, and we used that for a while. And those kind of pre-rolls are still a YouTube thing, but Machinima definitely, and the creators around Machinima back in the day in the director's program, a lot of people used them, and we did. And we kept using them for a while. Let's see what we got next. So here we have a logo we did actually use on our Twitter account for a while, and I think even our YouTube picture was this. And this is when we were doing Halo Machinima heavily. And that's why it's Halo font, Halo helmets, and it's supposed to be the drama masks. It was kind of a logo we used along with the skull, but we kind of adopted this almost as the primary logo for just a moment. I'm glad we didn't stick with it. I'm glad we thought better of it, because it just doesn't work. And it also uses assets from Halo, I mean, all over the place. So it just doesn't work. But Skull actually did this one. He put this together. And I like it still. As a logo, as branding, you know, it's not gonna do the job. Maybe it did, and it probably did back in 2008, 2009. I mean, we've been doing this for 10 years. It's weird. And then like it took forever for us to decide on the next one. And so we joined Broadband TV, which is a MCN, kind of like Polaris was, or I don't know, Maker, Full Screen, any of those. And one of the things they did was they were going to make a logo for us. And they made this logo for us, which we weren't in love with. It just, I don't know. We just weren't in love with it. I mean, you can look at it and be underwhelmed, and I wouldn't blame you. It's pretty boring. So yeah, they put this together, and that was cool. But I was motivated to try and figure something else out. So I kind of learned Illustrator, and I kind of messed around and just fumbled around, and I learned some stuff. And so I made this dude, which you'll recognize from the God Mode art, which we considered using as a logo. And then I thought better, and I recreated the skull logo in Illustrator, and it looks worlds better. And actually, I do regret this bit, because people think this is a tooth. But it's actually the jaw on the other side. It's this on the other side. But it looks like a tooth, and I wonder how many people actually thought that. And we only learned that when I was getting it. I got this logo tattooed on my thigh, and the tattoo artist thought that was a tooth, and everyone around was like, "Oh yeah, it does." So yeah, but we used this logo for a while, and we like it. We love it. It still holds a near and dear spot in our heart. So Broadband TV, they put together this pre-roll for us. Still in the age of pre-rolls, and I liked it. We wanted something obnoxious and explosive, and it's funny because I remember back in the day, the audio was almost peaking. It was so loud, so people would just have their headphones on and then just get blasted with this whenever a song would come on. And I'm sure people hated it, but it was kind of funny to us, and we just kept it that way. But here it is. It's pretty cool. And there it is. So that pre-roll we used for a while. Oh, let's get rid of it. And it was a fun one. Not much else to say about it. Just kind of going through the timeline. So you may remember, do we still have it here? This logo. We ended up doing something called the cohort program. So any of you OGs remember that. And we adapted it for that. And cohorts it's a Roman military term. So he's got a Roman helmet. And it was a thing we did with some fledgling YouTube channels, or nerdcore channels. And we feature their stuff on our channel. And we kind of acted like a hub. And it didn't end up working out in the end just because of diluting the JT brand. So this was actually like just a bad brand play. It was fun, and we got to make a lot of good connections. The Rocket Gaming, Deathmatch, Nerd Out. A lot of good came from the program, but it just didn't work out. But so, because it diluted our brand again. But we were able to get some utility out of this logo that Broadband TV made for us. So, I mean, there's the evolution. I'd made it white, tilted it left, and there you go. So we got to use it. And then for those of you super hardcore, here's our, we made a podcast. So this is our podcast logo. It was called Gamefinity. And you got the infinity symbol, gaming shield. We did like 32 episodes of it with our buddy Josh. It was fun, but it didn't match up with our goals in the end, because we realize music videos are what does well. That's what we need to do, and only that. And that's why you see only on the channel music videos, because that's an algorithm thing, because that's the subscribers' behaviors. I don't know, but it was evident that music videos are what we needed to do, and only do. And anyways, so. Oh, and then here's a common way we presented this logo. This was like our icon photo for a long time, when we redid the skull here. But it was time for a change, and Broadband TV put together some more logos, and they definitely brought their A game this time. So they gave us 3 options, and I'll go through all of them. And this will be pretty interesting to you guys, I think. I'd fucking eat this up if I was a fan of... I do with other channels, James from Couch Op did one, and that's what inspired this, and it's just fascinating to see the behind-the-scenes branding stuff. So, here's one. They presented us 3 options. So any of these could have been the JT Machinima, JT Music logo. And so, here's the first one they presented with us. You got the keyboard, he's blocky, and he's got a J, I guess. I always figured that was a J or some insinuation of a J, but there's no T, so it doesn't make sense. So I think it's just the way the shape is. But I don't know. I wasn't in love with it. And another reason why we wanted a new logo was because, again, this logo it was hard to shape, hard to put into things in graphics, we factored in the little lobe, like the lower lobe area with the machinima bleeding into it, and the JT, and it worked for this. But when you have a logo that isn't like symmetrical, just like balanced on either side, it makes just design a little bit harder. I mean, you can get more creative, but you know, if you can do away with that, then why not? Here's another one. Same issues in terms of the symmetry from the last logo. It's just facing the other way. And I also didn't like it because it looked like a piggy bank, which I mean, I didn't get it. It looks cool, but the piggy bank thing is weird. And I mean, you also have that weird symmetry with this dead space here, but then you also add the notes up here, which just makes it a tall logo, which just makes design again a headache. And then the one you guys know and probably love is this one, and we fell in love with it. It fit that criteria of just being something we can plug in, and it's not a design headache. It looks cool. I mean, it has so many references. Obviously, the musical notes, the guitar pick, the head of a guitar or keyboards. You know, it can be either one. We just loved it. It was the right logo. You know, when you see something and you know this is it, or whatever it is. This was that. We adopted this logo and have had zero regrets. We love it, and it's amazing. And so those are the options we had. So it's pretty cool. We never actually showed any of this, so hopefully that's cool to you guys. There's a few more things I can show. Yes, so then we did this pre-roll, which is awesome. Again, by Broadband TV. Which was a great MCN, and we switched to Rooster Teeth, obviously, but not because these guys weren't good. Just Rooster Teeth is the best option out there, and prestigious and awesome, and they inspired us. So, I mean, you're gonna jump on that. But yeah, so they made this. It's pretty cool. It's frame by frame, and I love the chalkboard look of it. And you know, it has this full bit, but then we ended up only using the part where it exploded. And then I would cut it about here so we can get into the video faster. And then, as you've noticed, we've just cut pre-rolls out. And there's just no space for it in music videos, you know. And that's why we do it. We just get into the content so you guys can enjoy it, so that you can listen to it on your phone with your headphones, you know. Lastly, I mean, just here's the new way we've presented the logo. Just cleaner. Yeah, I like the circle thing. It looks really good on sites with since everything uses the since everything uses the circle profile picture now, you know, it just looks clean. I dig it. It's nice and neat. But anyways, guys, hopefully this was interesting to you. I had fun sharing, going down memory lane, just covering all these logos, and hopefully you learned something and it was a cool takeaway, or I don't know, hopefully you learned something. It was cool. But thanks for watching, guys, and we have a Realm Royale song this Sunday and BioShock after that. So if you made it to the end of this random BTS video, there you go. You get that nugget of information. See you guys.